Welcome everyone, it's Fury here. It's been a while since last video aired, and yeah. So first of all, I just want to show you, as always, this website with the tutorials. You got level design tutorials, programming tutorials, user interface, and much more. So yeah, check this out definitely. There is the address. Obviously, this is gonna be also in the uh, description of this video. But yeah. So in this video, I decided to do some kind of things like, um, you know, we're gonna create a game basically. So this is gonna be long tutorial that might take a few months even. I'm not gonna be doing these videos like in some like every Saturday or something, uh, like regularly, but I will be uploading them from time to time. So I don't know. I'm not sure what kind of games this is gonna be just yet, but I think we're gonna do some RPG open world game, which is not gonna be like um, anything very very complicated, but you're gonna see step by step how to achieve these things. So quite cool, isn't it? So let's get straight into this. Uh, what I'm gonna do is actually I'm gonna open up the Cryengine Launcher. Obviously, this is gonna be fully for the um, okay, whatever, fully for the Cryengine 5.4. Holy shit, I got some updates to install. Doesn't matter. We're gonna open up the well. We're gonna have this is gonna be third person, I would say, but we might have some first person camera in the future, but at the moment let's stick with the third person. So new project, third person shooter, because you could start from the blank, but this is some basic functionality that we already have in third person, so it's gonna be enough, I think. Alright, so my project, I'm gonna call it like RPG tutorial game. Yeah, okay. So create project. I'm gonna be working on this project every time, I'm doing tutorial about this, so we're gonna create everything from scratch, like inventory, UI system, and everything pretty much. So yeah, there is our code, and let's get into this. We're gonna right away uh, to go edit with Notepad++, and we're gonna just do language XML. Oh, sorry, no, it's not XML. I think it was CMake. That's enough. Okay, I don't like when it's white. All right. So we got this. Let's call it. Let's call it. Okay, let's leave it as this. Okay, RPG tutorial games. It's alright. So yeah, we won't change anything here. I thought we are gonna change the name, but okay. So I'm gonna right click it, build this solution as always, or generate the solution. I know it's boring steps on the beginning, but trust me, this is gonna be very interesting. We're gonna create components from scratch. We're gonna do a lot of cool stuff, really. I obviously use Visual Studio 2015. Obviously, we are going to also use only free software. So this tutorial is for the people who is just starting small. You're not the big companies that have a lot of money to buy expensive programs like Adobe or something. We're gonna use Flash Develop to use it to create a UI system. So that's gonna be very very cool, I think. Okay, we're gonna start with some coding. At the moment, this is gonna be single player game, but we may add some multiplayer to it in the future. So we will see where this goes. As always, from the very beginning of creating a game, we're gonna just compile this empty project to see if everything compiles properly. Setting us a startup project, it's not a big deal. If you want to debug a game server, or you want to create a debug sandbox or game launcher, that's all it is. We're gonna build it, see if it works. We also might cover the, you know, modeling and preparing characters for our game and animating them, which is, I'm not very good at this, but I know how to achieve this. So I can show you some basic stuff. We will see. However, at the moment we're gonna focus on coding, very basic stuff. Like, we're gonna run the game now, see what we've got so far. This is, as I said, this is an empty third-person project. Okay, we got third person here. No aim poses. Okay, he's shooting out the bullets and stuff. This game we're creating, we're probably gonna end up doing some more medieval stuff instead of just creating, you know, more. I will say that, like, more medieval stuff instead of doing the guns and all this stuff. So from the very beginning, what we're gonna do, we're gonna go to this project of ours, and we're gonna actually um, go into assets, um, objects, characters, and open up the third person character. What we're gonna need here is, we're gonna get rid of this Crytek's weapon, obviously, binding. Oh, actually no. I'm actually going to show you this from the editor. So we're not doing too much. We're not going too much into files. We're gonna be using editor interface more. You know, it's more friendly for new people joining, and also this is like the way it should be, because, you know, editing XML files, it's obviously it's just as I guess it's just as good as using editor for this, but the editor is designed to do these things visually. So we're gonna go to animation character tool. We're gonna open up our character. We are not interested in first person, so we're gonna open up third person, obviously. And as you can see, he's got this weapon over here. So yeah, so the weapon attachment stays as it is, but it's binding, which is this default weapon. We're gonna go clear and clear. That's pretty much it. So save it up. That's all we wanted. So now this CDF file for this character is saved, and our character does not have this weapon in hand, but this weapon was just a model. What we want to get rid of the bullet stuff and the I guess, yes, the bullet stuff. We're gonna get rid of this file. We don't need this at all, no matter what. We will be doing maybe crossbows or bows, so we're gonna be shooting out stuff, but bullet is just not interface we wanna use at all. We're gonna create everything from scratch. So let's go remove it. Also, it's cool if we remove it from the code folder. So you get rid of this. Also, we gotta go to CMake lists and get rid of the bullet as well. Yep. And now we're gonna search for this, because it's gonna be, you know, somewhere in the code. Sorry, entire solution. This is basically Control plus F. That's what showed up. Okay, we're gonna look for this phrase in entire solution. Oh, it's pretty much just one. Okay, so let's just simply remove this from here. Okay, build it up again. Oh yeah, there are gonna be some issues with this. If you can't hear me properly, just, you know, turn up your speakers, because it's quite uncomfortable on this chair, and I gotta move around. So the shoot action we're gonna remove this for now. We're gonna need should action obviously in the future, but I guess we can do it from scratch. So I'm gonna show you how to do the actions from the keyboard and stuff. Okay. Alright, we can remove these comments here because we don't need them at all. Input component, blah blah blah. Okay. So from the very beginning, it's very early, so we can actually start making our code look clear, I guess, and organized. So so what we're gonna do, we're gonna actually grab the specific stuff and put it to separate files. Also, we want to keep this organized here, so we're going to open up CMake lists. You know what I'm going to do now? I'm actually going to open up second screen for you, the screen that I use, because the third one is just for... Okay. This is the second screen. I'm not sure whether I can do it somehow nicely to show everything that I'm trying to do. Okay, let's close it for now. I might be jumping onto the other screen showing you, the stuff. So for now, CMake list is okay. We wanna open up, CMake list as I said. We got the components Uber file, and we wanna create more folders like this, because it says components, but everything is just in one bag over here, so it can be quite annoying later when we have more files. So let's create source group and call it player. Let's say just player. Player components. Or okay, just let's leave it player. Naming is the hardest part of programming. We're gonna grab player, put it right here, and there it is, player.h. Okay, save it, and now we're gonna build it. It's gonna ask you to reload all, so you can see where you got components and player. But oh yeah, I forgot actually. You're gonna do components 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what you need to do. Save it up, build again. Let's rebuild maybe. Game DLL, it's somehow fucked up. It was it 4 or just 2? Because I don't remember now. We'll see. Just compile it again. Cannot open file. Interesting. It happens sometimes. It's not a big deal. Yep. I guess it was 4. Don't think it could be 2 maybe. I think it was 4. Yeah, configuration failed of the CMake, so yeah. I'm gonna rebuild it now. So this is fine, don't be worried about this error that I'm getting. Because cannot open file. Cannot open DLL file. For some reasons. Just that's actually weird. shouldn't happen, but move it aside. Of course, it's not gonna get removed this way. Gonna close. I just closed the solution. Now I can remove this. I can. Oh yeah, I know what's going on actually. So sandbox or something did not close properly. I know, I know it happens a lot of times on my PC at least. So sandbox. Yeah, I could have guessed that this was a mistake of my PC. Like it did not close completely process of the sandbox, so that's why it was calling on me saying that hey, DLL is still in use, so you can't save anything into it. So let's build it now. Yeah, it built without any problems, and as you can see, you got components and the player inside. So what this does is, one folder inside the other one, and so on and so on, and you can create, another one here and another, whatever you want. We'll leave it like this at the moment, and oh yeah, we can do actually something like the components gameplay. Okay, so this is gonna be for the spawn point. I know it's very basic stuff I'm showing now, but organization of this is very important, and you're gonna understand once this game or your game gets bigger. Then yeah, don't be worried about this. It's not showing up the gameplay. It does not show it every time. I mean, it will if I close the solution and open up again. Sometimes it happens, but don't be worried about this. Once you have more changes in here and you rebuild the solution, this is gonna show up. So as you can see, I have now organized stuff, components, gameplay, which is spawn point stuff, and player, which is cool. All right. So let's start from the player. We have a lot of stuff that we would like to separate. At least I do. I like input components. I don't really like it this way, to have everything in one file. And also update methods. There's quite a lot of them, and we're gonna have more. So we're gonna go and create a new item. Okay, this is something I created, but could I actually create some template that I could show you something about the template stuff? Wait a second. Okay. What I'm gonna show you actually now. I just needed some, I'm using Google to Google it out because I don't remember. I'm gonna create something that to make our work easier for later. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go like in here and okay, I'm gonna basically open up another instance of Visual Studio 2015. Okay. Um, create a new project. Doesn't matter what that is. It can be empty project. Let's just keep it C++, Windows 32, console application is fine. Doesn't matter the could put it somewhere in the projects here. Whatever. You're not gonna be using this project anymore. Okay. Finish it. Doesn't matter. I'm just creating new project for now to show you something. Okay, basically what I want here, I want to create a header file. Add new header file, new item, header file, and let's call it component or entity component, or just let's say component. Without the H, doesn't matter. Okay. Basically what I'm doing this is gonna make our job much easier later. So we create a file that we're gonna be using later. So basically let's do something that looks quite nice, like this. Alright. and we put like uh, I'm gonna do a similar thing that I do in my case. Just give me a second, please. Okay, so basically what we are doing here, I'm gonna do it differently. So we're gonna go this way. Okay, let's do something that looks quite good, like this and like that. Okay, and here we're gonna put like author, and it's gonna be my name, which is that's my private data now. I revealed Michael. Project, let's call it. Yeah, it doesn't matter really. Let's leave it like this, and then we're gonna go with the purpose. Okay, it's pretty much enough. Okay, that looks fine. We're gonna do here include cry entity system entity component h. It shows red, but doesn't matter because this is just a template. Class component public entity component public okay. This is the beginning for the component that we're gonna have, and don't be worried about this. This is just a template. So we're gonna go and basically we're gonna oh wait a second. We're gonna create template out of this. So I'm gonna go file and export template. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, because it's asking to save this. We're gonna use the item template, I believe. Next, and we're gonna use our component. Yes. Yeah, I guess so. Template name. Component. You can have some icon for it or preview, doesn't matter, and description that you want, but I'm gonna go and save it up. It's pretty much all I wanted. I'm gonna close this completely now, and in our Cryengine project solution, now we're gonna create. We're back into our project, so don't be worried about this. I know I'm showing a lot of stuff. You would say it's useless, so you can skip it if you want. Skip this video, or skip a few minutes. But you're gonna see why I did this. So normally we would go here, add another .h file and stuff, but we won't be doing this because we can simply we can simply just basically have all of this, like the main include and all the class and stuff. At the moment we won't be using this, but for later you will see. Anyway, I know I'm just saying some confused stuff, but I'm confused myself. So let's go. Add new item. This item will be in code of our project and components. We're gonna call it. It's gonna be CPP file because it's not gonna be component itself. So we're gonna call it. We're gonna call it like player input. You don't need to place CPP because it's already here. Player input, and we're gonna add another one, new item, also the same folder and stuff. We're gonna call it player update. I like to have it this way. You can name it different. You can use some different names for it if you want, but I like this naming and I will stick with this. Okay, add. So we got 2 new files. What we gotta do, we gotta go to CMake list and add them, obviously. So we're gonna put them underneath the player. So one was called player input, the other one was called player update. The reason why I separate them is just so simple as, the organization purposes. I have to. Oh, okay, now I'm good. Wait a second, because something is fucked up on this chair. Okay, got that. Sorry about that. We got that. We've got to now go to player input, obviously. And in player input, we're gonna do include city, as always you would do with within the okay, another one, include player.h, and those two we're gonna go here as well. So what we're gonna put in player input, we're gonna put some stuff that is exclusive to the input. The thing is only that we need to have some other method to do this, so we're gonna do virtual void. Oh no, virtual actually. I'm not sure if we'll be deriving from this. Void init initialize input and void initialize update. Oh wait, sorry, I'm a little bit confused now. We're not doing the second one because basically there's nothing to initialize. We could be creating definition of this in player CPP, but we won't. Basically where we're gonna put this is here. So void cPlayer component, I guess. Was it? Yeah. Initialize input. Okay. So now I have definitions. So as you can see, you can have definitions of this class in the other files as well. So whatever starts doing input initialization of the components on the beginning is over here. So I'm gonna put initialize input, and now we're gonna grab all of this stuff, all of the inputs, cut it from there and put it here. So it's a little bit better organized now. This file is a little bit smaller. Player input. This is basically initialization of this stuff. And we're also gonna put the flag input change method into player input, because this is player input only uses this. For the organization purposes, it's, I think, good idea. So we're gonna grab that, cut it from there, and put it over here. Also, what else? What else can we have? That's not much really. So let's do it like this. The second one, we got player updates, and update methods are over here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's quite a lot. So we got 1 here, 2, 3, and 4. Yep. Here. X. We're gonna cut this and put it over here. We're not using these methods too often. We don't do too many changes to these methods, so it's smart to put them aside to the other file. So as you can see, your player.cpp file is like 2 times smaller than it was before, and it's easily readable. So I'm gonna remove these comments from here. Obviously we know what these components do: camera component, character controller component, and animation component as well. Okay. Let's maybe separate this only for the component types. Animation. Okay. So then it revives the player and blah blah blah. I removed these comments because we don't need them at all. This is for the learning purposes, but we're not newbies anymore. I mean, kind of we are, but okay. Keep this separate. Okay. Spawn and spawn points, obviously same as it was before. Okay, cool. So our player file is quite easily readable now. Let's run the project to see if everything works as we wanted it to, or just build it first. This is very beginning of this video, and obviously we're gonna be doing organization things before we start doing a actual game. So everything is fine, at least it seems fine to me. Let's run the game to make sure everything works as it worked before. I know it's not really interesting this beginning, but and obviously if you have this knowledge you can skip it and go right to the other ones. Okay, so we got this guy over here. What should we start off? Well, we don't have any objects that we can pick up. We don't have any pickup methods. We don't have any inventory. I think we're gonna start from the inventory of the player, because character stuff we can do later, animations too, and picking up objects and having them anywhere, it's quite cool, I guess. So yeah, we're gonna create another file here. Oh, sorry, we can use, okay, I'm gonna close this now to reload the Visual Studio. As you remember previously, we created this template for the component, so we're gonna use it now. Components, gonna add a new item, and there you go, it's our template over here. And you're gonna see what I'm doing with this. That's actually, I'm gonna put it to the code and components as always. And here it says components. You can just change name, but use this template component. We're gonna call it item component. Okay, this is gonna be basic or like main item component. Add. And as you can see, now we have our template. There is your name, there is your project name or something and purpose that you want to do. And also we don't have to write class, public, blah blah blah. And also we have this include and stuff. So it makes it slightly easier. You can put more stuff in here if you want, like initialize and stuff. It's gonna be quite a good idea, I think. So the project is RPG tutorial game. And purpose is a base class for, or like let's do base structure for items all types of items will derive from it. Some information for yourself or for the other programmer looking into your project. We're gonna change class into structure because, as it says, it's structure. It doesn't really matter, but I like to keep it consistent. So let's do S because it's structure. That's why we start from S. So later we don't have to check if it's structure or if it's class or whatever. If it says S, it's structure. If it's C, then it's class. If it's I, then it's interface. Yeah, because there is also interface if you want. Structure, and we're gonna do S item component. It's fine. Do not put final word here because this is base class. So here. The constructor and the structure, it's done. So as always, we have to. I'm gonna put this file aside, so I just take the stuff from there. Oh, I'm quite sleepy. Alrighty. The components have to have these are most these three methods are the basic methods that component must have. Oh, sorry, one more method. One more is static void reflect type. Holy shit. It was like this. Okay. So initialize, you put whatever you want. Event mask is basically what events can it have, and process event is basically processing these events that, like entity, when the entity is destroyed or when it's initializing something, and many more like updates. Reflect type. Holy shit! I know why I'm sleepy so much today, but whatever. Reflect type is the method that is actually allowing your component to be exposed for the editor, and without it won't even work. I'm gonna grab all of these, right click, quick actions, and create definition. Oh yeah, we don't have item components.cpp file, but it created it now. So yes, so we have it now. We have it here. So let's add existing item component cpp. Okay, so it should be right here. Oh yeah, it's right here. So what we've got to do, we've got to add these two files into our CMake lists as well. So let's make for them some new group, I would say. So let's put it over here. Let's do components items. Okay, cool. We can actually go in here and we can actually build a project now. It should build up properly. Yes, it does. Okay, so we have the basic stuff for the item. I'm gonna be deriving from this later, so At the moment it's empty. We will see what we have later. We will actually need to do some I guess we could do some like uh, geometry and physics. So since we won't be using any components that Cry have, probably we're gonna just do our own stuff. So here we're gonna do some methods like void, like, sorry about that. Okay, here it is. So we're gonna put it like load geometry and void load, yeah, load geometry, pretty much. Okay. What can we do now? So load geometry, we've got this method. Okay. Also, we have to create the reflect type. So creating new GUID, new copy. Yep. Okay. This has to be unique for each component. So whenever you create new components, this has to be generated, like, you know, here, tools, create GUID, and this has to be number 4, and then new and copy, and that's it. So when we initialize item, we want it to actually okay, we're gonna load the geometry on the beginning. Load geometry, and we're gonna go physicalize. Okay. Physicalize, which is gonna be next to each other. So when the item is initialized, it's gonna load geometry and then physicalize it. Loading geometry is pretty straightforward, but we're gonna complicate it a little, but by creating the schematic ready item, which is pretty cool. Okay, so basically we're gonna create one more thing for this. Add new item, obviously in our component folder as always. We're gonna do header file, and we're gonna call it no, sorry, yeah, header file, item properties. Okay, now I'm gonna need some help from my project to, you know, some things to look into, how I create things in my project. So components, item, whoops. Okay, item properties I got here. So the item properties will do for me, will hold, or, you know, will store all the properties for the items. We're gonna need to include Cry schematic resource types. We're gonna need Cry schematic reflection type description. Okay, so basically we're gonna have the geometry for it. So let's do, not to put every time 0 or 1, we're gonna put item geometry slot. Okay, we have just one. Maybe we will need something more later, but for now it's just one. It's gonna be 0 always. We're gonna just be, by this, we're gonna just be defining what geometry slot is. It's gonna be always 0, but putting everywhere 0, it's not really clear for the other people. So if some other programmer looks into your code, we're gonna put a few things. We're gonna create structure. Structure as render properties. We're gonna put these 2 lines in here. What they are, they actually allow you to, if you create object of the structure, then you're gonna be able to compare it using if statements. That's pretty much all it is. Without it, you can't be comparing, and we probably will want to compare later. So we're gonna go geometry file name as geom path, let's call it. Okay, and the second thing, we want schematic material file name as material. What these are, these are gonna be properties that we're gonna be holding our item models and material, which we're gonna be able to choose from the schematic, which is gonna be very cool. You'll see later. Okay, geometry and material for now, it's enough. Also, every structure like this will have to have reflect type. Okay, another one. So more things we're gonna have into this. So this is gonna be visible in editor. We're gonna be able to change these paths from the editor. So we want to have some labels for it, you know, so we know what that actually is. So set label. I'm gonna call it render properties and description. Okay, now we're gonna be add members. There's gonna be 2 members, 1, 2. So now I'm actually exposing this for the editor. If you put 5 or something, this is gonna fail, so be careful with this. So this, now what I'm doing is gonna be shown in the XML file of this entity, so do not do any spaces in here. This is just a label that is visible in editor, so and the default value doesn't matter. At the second one, we're gonna put the same stuff, just the material. Material path, and here. Okay. So we got the items, basically basic render properties. So when we change these properties, we want this model to be specified model to be attached to this. So now this is like the second plan properties. The basic property of the item will be defined over here. So as item properties, okay. Also the same thing goes here. Remember to have your class in there, so it'll have to be here, like this one has those. And now, for now we're gonna have just one property, which is this all stuff. So we could create these separately inside of the item properties, but instead of this we are like creating this from the smaller blocks. So this is block number 1, where we attach to this. You have some more properties. We just group these properties separately, so it's easier to manage them later. So as render properties, we're gonna create object of this, so it will be called as render properties, okay, and as previous. The reason why we have two objects is when you change the value of anything in the editor, we're gonna check if the value is changed, and if it's changed, then assign new model to it. For example, I'm gonna be explaining more to this later. So we have the structure. Okay, I'm just gonna copy up all of this and put this inside here. Also, as always, this has to be unique. Item properties, let's say item, and now we're gonna have one member at the moment. It's gonna be as item properties, render properties, render properties. In editor, let's call it render settings. And description. That's it. And here, default value has to be this. Okay, so we got this. Now we have to put these properties to be actually inside our item. The way to do this is to go here and we're gonna add this description. It was label, set label. This is the label visible in editor. So how this component is named in the editor. So let's do item component. Descriptions. Set description. Item base item component and description add member. And the member now will be as item component. Oh, sorry, yeah, I forgot. So now we have to create object of the property. So it's gonna be private stuff, and also we have to include this item properties. So it's gonna be private as item properties, which is this structure over here. Whoops, here. And we're gonna create as item properties and as item previous properties. Or let's start from preview item properties. It's the same story. Yeah, so we got this as item component, as item properties. Now our item properties, okay, name and labeling editor, description, and default value will be okay. So now we're gonna do load geometry. So we can create actually something, some new let's do as item properties, get item, get properties, okay, return file will be as item properties, which will be cool to use later because it's private, so you can use from, to check properties of this item later. Okay, so get properties, render properties, that's what we want, and do geometry path, and if value string okay, so just do new variable so we don't have to write this all stuff every time. So now if this geometry path is empty, if it's empty, then return, do not do anything. We can't add the model to that does not have any path, right? If it's empty, no path, then this would be causing some errors in the editor. So only if there is some path in there. So if we find the path to this model, then we can start doing anything. So mp entity geometry, what's called load geometry. We're gonna do slot, and slot is defined over here, geometry slot. So that's what we're gonna use, geometry slot. Yeah, and then the path will be sg on path. Is pretty much it. And physics. So yes, when we initialize the item load geometry, but when we change this value in the editor, we want to actually have this model called once again, this method to be called once again to attach this new stuff. So we need to add new mask here, 64 entity event component property changed. So now we allow this this event to happen. So now let me look into my files once again. Yeah, we're gonna do switch now. Switch event and go case. Holy shit. Case entity event component property changed. Okay, we're gonna have more, so we'll just break it. So now we're gonna check if the properties now are different than the previous ones. So if they changed at all, because this is gonna be called even if we click inside or we change this path to the geometry path to the same path, it's gonna be called. So don't want to load the same model once again. So that's what it does. So we're gonna check if the new properties are different than the old ones, and then we're gonna assign obviously as item properties, and then we're gonna do the stuff. Load geometry. Okay, pretty much. So now we're gonna take. Okay, actually, yes, we're gonna just load this stuff once again. One more thing we have to do, and I need some help over here because I don't remember exactly how that was. Okay, so there it is. Actually, I could look into this in here. We're gonna copy this. This is actually allowing editor to see this component. Put it over here on the top of your CPP file. We're gonna rename it to this and register item. Okay, we've got this. This allows editor to see this component. So now when I build it, it does the job, and we're gonna go to the editor to see if our component is there and what we can do with this component at all. This is gonna be base component, so we're gonna remove this later. We don't want to use this component, but on the beginning we're gonna check step by step our progression. So we're gonna go to Schematic Editor. No, actually we can go into the actual map. Okay, there it is, the basic Crytex map. Components, we should have our components somewhere here. General item component, cool. Double click it and put it here. As you can see, it's just an empty floating code, and this is our item component we expose to the editor. So we have the render settings here. We're gonna do geometry path that we want. Let's do objects, I don't know, default primitive sphere small. Okay, let's do both sides. You can see my code works. So we change this property in here, and it assigned the model to it. So if I just remove this model now, press enter or go clear, it's not gonna remove this model because this is empty, and we set to our code that if it's empty, then don't do anything. So basically we have to handle also this, but for now we're gonna leave it like it was before. So objects default sphere small. Also material is the same exact story like it was here. Materials, I don't know, doesn't matter which material you actually choose. You can believe me that this is material default, let's say. So it's all good, no errors I can see here. So it works, it's good. Only thing that this item does not have any physics just yet. So if I jump into the game, as you can see, I can go through this. So we want to actually add some physics to it. Also, we have to handle if we empty this out, then we have to, remove this geometry. And I don't really remember how we could remove the geometry, but we will see. If it's empty, then empty entity geometry or remove geometry. No. I think calling empty stuff should do the job, although not sure about it. Okay, so we will see what we can do about it. At the moment, it's not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. Also, physicalizing this, we're gonna just do simple physicalization like a rigid body, so we can move it in the game. How was it? I actually forgot. It's entity physical params. Well, let's call it physics params. Mass was, as always, we're gonna do. Okay, actually we can change the mass of this object. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna add more properties to this item. So we wanna have this is render properties obviously only, but we also wanna have the physics properties, right? So I'm gonna copy all of this, paste it here. Let's call it as physics properties. Paste it over here. Now with this we're gonna have f mass. Okay. Okay, this has to be different too. New, as I always say, unique ID. We're gonna call it physics properties. So we copy it here and go. As physics properties, it's gonna do f mass. Mass of this item. Okay, and mass is float, so let's do 0.f. Yeah, so we have the second block, so let's do here separate it somehow. You can do some comments if you want, and we add another property. Yeah, we're gonna put it here. Okay, so we probably won't need this. So remember, I don't do anything with that. Oh shit. Okay, so gonna do another property as physics properties. As physics properties. Okay, as physics properties. So we're gonna do all physics settings of this item as physics properties. So that's all I did, and now we're actually gonna physicalize using this mass. So equals, we don't need to add anything here anymore, because this object already have all of that stuff that is above, so you just add the small blocks to it. So mass now get properties physics properties and mass. Okay, Now second physics params. What else did we need? Type. PE rigid. The types are pretty straightforward. PE static, that's this object that is unmovable. No matter what you do to it, you hit it with the bullet, you hit it with the other player or other objects, it will not move. PE area or articulated is, for example, used for ragdollizing players. PE rigid is the one that we need. You can read about those types in Cryengine documentation, so I'm gonna be talking too much about it. And PE rigid, this is a type of the physics for the item that is allowing you to. It has actually mass, real mass in the game world. So based on that mass, it's gonna check if you can push it or something. You know what I'm saying? It's just a normal interactive item, I would say. Whoa, I gotta check this because don't remember if we need any other physicalization of this. That's pretty much it. So get entity. No, we're gonna use the normal pointer. P entity physicalize using these params. Okay. So now when the item is, let's say, spawned in the editor or in the game world, it's gonna load geometry and then physicalize it. Also here, when any of these things change, then we wanna actually load the physics. No, it was called physicalize. That's pretty much it. Let's run the editor once again. Let's wait for it to compile. So it's doing this. This error is just saying that your DLL file is unavailable, so you can't write anything to it because sandbox is still running. Does not always happen. Usually it happens when I holy shit, I did not compile it. When I do the new projects, but on my old projects it's just not happening. So we're gonna see now our item. And how this item is treated by the physics of the world. Since our item is just a simple ball, it probably... Okay, there's our ball over here. First of all, I'm gonna just check if we can... So yeah, it's not, as it says, wrong file name. So, we're gonna open up the model once again. Default sphere small. And the mass of it. So for now we're gonna jump into the game, see what happens. Mass is 0, which means in the Cryengine, if the mass is 0, then this item is extremely heavy. You can't even move it. So let's do 1. So as you can see, it's already moving, rolling on the ground, so we can kick it or something, probably. Yes, it has collision and everything that I wanted. That looks funny. Alright. Let's move it away from here. Let's do this, for example. Oh, that's weird. However, yes, this item has physics already. You can change the mass of it. If I go like 1000, it's probably gonna do the crazy stuff like It's gonna be really okay. I'm stuck in the wall. There's no way I can do anything. Okay, so let's leave it like 1. So we have different items in the game. You have weapons, you have whatever you want pretty much, and that's the way you can create these items. We're gonna, I don't know how long this video is already. It's like more than 1 hour, so we're gonna do a little bit more. Let's maybe 1.5 hours or something. Okay, so this is our item, but we can't interact with this. We can do nothing. We can't pick it up. We can do nothing. So this is basic functionality for the item. So we're gonna create something else. Let's do, for example, what can we do? Okay, let's go into the actual player, our player stuff. So there we are, and in our player we can what we're gonna do is actually we're gonna grab the player update method and create another update method, clear update method, so we're not using any of this. Let's do it somewhere here, like oh, this is some legacy stuff. Let's remove this, create another void update, simple update, float frame time. You don't have to have this inside, but sometimes it's quite useful, so I'm gonna leave it here so I don't have to fix it. As you can see, if I have these methods next to each other and they are in one file, and you put another one here, then Visual Studio will automatically know where to put this, where this should stick. So this is our new update function. We have to call this method every frame. We don't have to, but we want to. So there is update. Frame time. All right. A little bit more of my help over here on the left. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna actually show the message to pick up the item. To do this, we're gonna use the simple raycast. Camera direction is this is basically needed for the raycast to know which direction it should be casted in. And camera position is the position where the raycast should start. The reason why I'm doing this plus camera direction, because camera direction position is a little bit in front of the player, so it's the raycast will not hit the player. So there will no stuff that interferes. And factor that will be hit. Let's do. Oh no, actually we're gonna do like. We're gonna define macro here. Let's call it pickup range, and it's gonna be like 3.f. and we're gonna use it here. Static constant so these are the flags that we define for the raycast. What should it hit? What should it avoid? I mean, like, what should it skip when hitting, and all the stuff. This is a basic stuff that you're gonna wanna use for the picking up items. So if here we're gonna do can direction times pickup range. Ray flags and hit one and MP entity get physical entity. So this actually makes sure that the raycast will skip this entity. No, actually we won't be doing anything. Okay, we can do it actually. I'm gonna just copy and paste this that I have on the left here. There you go. This is basically a simple crosshair in the middle of your screen or in the world that you know where you are actually pointing to pick up. It's easier to pick up the weapons this way, at least at the moment. So if hit collider, if the raycast collides with anything, and then we're gonna check entity from physics. We're gonna check if this is valid entity at all, and then we're gonna check if this is actually item, and we have to also include our item component. This is our item component that we created before. So we're gonna actually check if we actually are looking at the item, and the way to check this is very simple. Item component by collider item. This is basically checking if this entity has this component attached. That's all. And if it has, so it means it is a item, then we're just gonna show up some simple message. So we're gonna do, okay, we're gonna create one more thing. Player. Also here, because this message will be called like constantly, so void show pick up message. Okay. Let's do string item name. Okay, it's also right here, so it's automatically assigned in here. So the pickup message will be very simple. Alright, let me use some of my help on the left. So Okay, so we're gonna do show pickup message, and the item name for this will be pcollider item. Get entity, get name, which is gonna be very long name, but I'm gonna get rid of this later. Okay, picking up message will be in the middle of the screen, so let's do let's get the screen middle position. So this way we just make sure that no matter what resolution player uses, it's gonna always point to the middle of the screen. So it gets the width of the screen and cuts it in half, and the same for the height. So this way we get the middle of a screen. Also, let's do white color for it. Okay. White color. You can have red or something else that you want. And yeah. So you're gonna do string pickup message equals, let's do pick up, and there we will put item name. Okay, so now we're gonna go here, prender, and get irender geometry, and then draw to the label, and the position X, it's screen middle X, and then screen middle Y, and font size, let's do 1.5. I checked that before and it's quite alright size. And PF white color that we want to use, I'm gonna go true, and S pickup message. That's what the message that we want to show. So we just build it. Holy shit, every time. Sandbox. Shitty sandbox. Okay. Once again, build it. RPG tutorial. So let's open up our map. I'm rhyming. There it is. So if I point, I know you can't see really this red cross over here. I might change it, but let's approach this. As you can see, it goes pickup entity 7. Okay, quite cool. Pickup entity 7. The thing is that entity 7 is not really a good name for it, is it? So, and the actual, okay, I'm gonna show it here. So entity get name. We want to have different names for the items. You might have sword, you might have sword of the fucking war god or whatever you want. You want to have crossbow, different types of crossbows. We want to have a lot of this stuff, right? So there is no other way to do this than just deriving from our entity from our item component. So this is item component, which is very, very, very basic. this is gonna hold all of the main functionality that all item would have, which is like picking up, dropping the item, and like this, the loading geometry, physicalization. This is something that all items will have. But there are some specific things for the weapon items. There are specific things for the I don't know, the healing liquid stuff, like for any type of item that is pickable or something like this, or usable. So we can't do everything in one class. That would be ridiculous, and it would get so fucking big. So we're gonna derive from this class to get some other items. So this is gonna be base class that holds the actual functionality that all items share. But those functionalities that are specific to some specific type of item, well, we're gonna need to put it inside the items. But first of all, we're gonna need virtual here. The reason why is obviously because these methods will be derived. I mean, they will be, legacy methods from this base structure to the other items. So let's do add new item, our component as always. Let's do okay, I think everyone wants to have weapons first, so we can't do any other thing. A weapon. And we could like separate for the projectile weapon, which is like crossbows and bows or guns or something like this. But we could do a separate class for the melee weapons, and I think that would be a good idea. But yeah, we might actually end up doing this anyway. So let's start from the beginning. Let's do melee, or melee weapon component, and our component template. Add project, so obviously RPG tutorial game. The purpose of this is it defines all melee weapons. Let's keep it simple. And now we're gonna do here. It's gonna be class. It's not structure anymore. So this is gonna be actual class. So C melee weapon component. Right, as always, I'm gonna copy a lot from the item component, I guess. So like these things are specific for the component itself. So we might end up changing this template a little bit. So melee weapon component, okay. Yep. So let's do melee weapon component. So now the things get a little bit more complicated because multiple inheritance is a pain in the ass for most of people, but I like this idea. Somebody who made C++ is really smart guy. So we won't be using our item component anymore because this is base class. It's a structure that is, I guess, just a to provide some methods from other items. But what we actually need here is the classes itself. I'm gonna add one more item I forgot about. Is CPP file, obviously CPP file for the melee weapon component. Okay, now we have CPP and H file. Obviously we have to put all of this stuff. There you go. I actually forgot to put item properties in here. Item properties. Or, yes, item properties. So, one more thing we want to add here, or actually two more things. We're gonna do like melee weapon component. Also on the bottom of that. Dot h. Also something I forgot about will be melee weapon properties. I don't know just yet what properties we're gonna have, but obviously we want to have these properties for the weapon. There's definitely gonna be a lot of these properties, so we wanna keep them in separate file. Let's keep them in CPP file. In .h file, which we did not create just yet. New item, header file, melee weapon properties. Okay. That's it. As I said, I don't know just yet what properties it's gonna have, but it's definitely gonna have some. It's obvious. This is like melee weapons are gonna be a lot. Okay. So it failed. Most likely. Yes, I know why. As always, I keep forgetting about this, although it happens every fucking time. Where the hell is sandbox? So let's build it again. So it's compiled without any problems. And now we have this. Also, we don't these things are already gonna be inside of this, so not a big deal. But what we want here, we're gonna need include melee weapon properties, and also include our main class, base class, which is item component. And public will be as item component. So we derive from that class over here with this, from this one. Okay, all this stuff, definitions in here. It's all right. Oh yeah, actually I forgot about one more thing. We could do like super class over here. You do super class and call the initialize method in the super class, but we're gonna do something different. It's because we derive from this class, and when we actually use initialize in this melee weapon component, then this will not be called, and we want this to be called actually. So we're gonna do something different now. Virtual void initialize class and 0. The reason I put this virtual pure virtual method is because each item, I want each item to have some initialized class. Okay, so we're gonna do it here. Instead of having initialize, we're gonna do initialize class. Okay, still works as you can see, and this way. So now in the item component, once everything is done, like loading geometry and physicalization, then we're gonna do initialize class. Okay, that's it. So on each class it will be called, no matter if it's a melee weapon, projectile weapon, or any other item, drink or food or whatever. So initialize class, cool, isn't it? So now in here you're gonna just think about what we need for the weapons. But yeah, actually something else we gotta do. Let me check something out. Okay, there's something else I've got to do now. Move a couple of things from the item into the weapon. This allows you for this component to be visible in the editor, and we don't need this in the editor anymore. We want our weapon itself. Bang, this way. Let's do register melee weapon. Okay, there's something else we need in here. It's gonna be okay, maybe later. So yeah, this will allow us to have this. Also here, this will not work this way, even if you derive from this class. So I'm gonna grab this and cut it from there completely. Okay. The item properties will be basically in here in each class. So let's do melee weapon component. Description melee weapon. So now we're gonna use the melee weapon component that has as item. Oh yeah, sorry. I put it under protected where it should private. It should be protected. So derived class can have access to this too as item properties. Okay, so because the weapon is still an item, just of a different type, so it has to have this, model properties. Yeah, that's pretty much all. So with these event mask and process event mask, we can get rid of this because we already have it over here. So this, we don't need it here. I actually forgot about this. And process event, if we do any events in here in the melee weapon, then this will not be called, and we need it. So either we do the super class as I said before, or we do it my way. So instead of having this, we're gonna do something else, that is virtual void process event class. Okay, event and equals 0 because I also want to have each class to have this. Okay, so let's just copy it out from here. So instead of having this, we're gonna have that. Override it. Dot here. Okay. Now it's gonna be much easier to handle, because this method we're gonna call on the very beginning. Or maybe later. We can actually call it later. Process event class. You're gonna pass event to it. That's it. All right. That's pretty much all we wanted. So this is what we're missing in the weapon component. Melee weapon components, of course, we have to have a unique one. And also what we want here is to add a base class. Description, add base. And base is as item component. Okay. So yeah, let's try to build it. Yeah, it's good. The other thing is that maybe we could put it somewhere like items. Guess it was like this. Was it? Oh yeah, this was something different. Actually forgot this. Yep. We're gonna do description, set editor category, items. Okay. It's just simple to put it somewhere, in the place that you already know. Alrighty. That's it. We got items category and all this stuff. But it's still just a item that is unpickable. You can do nothing. So now we're gonna make it pickable. We're gonna because all of these items will be pretty much pickable, unless we log this functionality for some item. But initially we want pretty much all of these items to be able to be picked up or dropped. So we're gonna put it in the base class, so all of these items, no matter if it's a melee or any other item, will inherit this method. So virtual void pick up. Pick up. We're gonna have a little bit, some more more methods. So we need player owner of this item. Player component p owner of this item. Okay. We also want to check if the item is pickable at all. Virtual bool is pickable. A little more functionality to this. So the pickable is when, for example, if this item has owner, so if somebody has this item in the hands, then we're gonna return. Or actually, we can do it a little bit. Yes, it's exactly as I said. I'm just gonna do it different way. Return p owner. At the moment, just one condition. We're gonna have more conditions in the future. So for now, it's pickable. If it doesn't have owner, then it's pickable. If it has owner, then it's not pickable. And pick up. For now, picking up, we don't have anything in a player's inventory or anything like this. So, oh yeah, we can actually do something else. See player component, p new owner. So if we pick it up, we actually assign new owner to it. Also, obviously, we have to check actually if the owner is null pointer. If something is wrong, then we just return and do nothing. If it's any other case, then yes, we can assign this owner. And we're also gonna do p owner get entity attach child mp entity. So basically, when we pick it up, we're gonna attach it to the player. just simple for now. We're gonna be doing more complicated stuff later. However, we've got this. We've got the is pickable and pickup functions, and also process event class. Okay, it's good at the moment. So in the player.cpp, we want to check something else. Okay, it was here in player update. Yep. So show the pickup message. If we actually want to show the pickup message and be able to pick up anything only when the item is pickable, because if it's not pickable, if it's in somebody's hands or something, we shouldn't get this message. So we're gonna filter this. We're gonna do if pick collider item is pickable, then show pickup message. Otherwise, don't do anything with this. Okay. Also, we have to resolve this thing with the item name, because well, you know, it will be long name later. Anyway, I will show you something. The way we're gonna be creating items now, it's very cool, really. It's very cool. I'm gonna be going to the editor now. It might crash on the map because as I remember, I put this entity on the map and I saved it and I actually removed this component. So it might crash, but oh, we'll see. Open up the example map. It does not crash, it just does not show up. Okay. So in the components now, we don't have any of our as you remember, we had these item components. Now we have items and melee weapon component, which is cool. You can put it here, you can change mass exactly as it was before. But obviously we're gonna have, if we were to create all of these different items in C++, that would be a fucking headache. So sword of the fucking blade of the something, or you know, you're gonna have like 300 different swords in your game. You're gonna have like 50 different crossbows in your game. Each is gonna have different name. Each is gonna have different properties, like you know, the damage and all this stuff. There's so much to do, and to do this stuff in C++, that would be ridiculous. That would be just like only 500 CPP and 500.h files, so it would do like 1000 extra files in CPP, in C++, I mean here in installation, 1000 extra files just to handle all of your items. That would be ridiculous, right? So we're gonna go to schematic now. Gonna create new entity. Let's create a new folder over here. Let's call him, rename, items. And our item will be called Fury. Oh yeah, let's do some epic name for our new sword. Blade of Fury. Blade of Fury. No. Cool, Blade of Fury. I like the name. So we're gonna add component to it, and this component will be our melee weapon component. So now we have all these properties in here. You could make them public, so you're gonna be able to change them, from within the editor. I'm gonna leave it private now. So geometry path, we don't have any fucking sword modeled. Shit. Okay, fuck that. Oh no, okay, I'm gonna put some simple model, and then we're gonna model some, let's do, I don't know, sphere again. I know sphere as a sword, but and the materials, default material. Do you have any default material? Default, okay, that's enough. And mass will be like 2 kilos. Let's 2 kilos. Okay, now save it up, and there will be new folder for your schematic entities. Will be called legacy, I think, legacy entities. But it will show up once you close the editor and open up again. So it's gonna actually show you the the stuff. Shit. Crytek, why does Sandbox don't wanna close? I know this video is very long. It's like almost 2 hours now, which is quite a lot. It's fine. I'm gonna do a lot more videos about this topic. So okay, we got this map here, and as you can see, new folder appeared. It's legacy entities and items, Blade of Fury. There it is, our Blade of Fury. So you're gonna create another sword, and you're just gonna go to schematic and create another file and so on. If you make these properties public, then you're gonna be able to change them from here and easily access them. So we're gonna have like I don't know, 20 swords of the same name, like Rusty Sword, for example, and one of them will have 5 damage, and the other one will have fucking 15 damage or something, So that's cool. The only problem with this will be, as you can see, when I put it over there and I aim it, it's gonna show the pickup items Blade of Fury 1, which is not necessarily fucking good. We want to get rid of this items and -1. So it's kind of annoying, obviously, if you show this name in there. But there is a way to avoid this. We're gonna create something here. Create virtual void create item name. It's gonna be for all of these items, so don't be really worried about this. Yeah. Create name, item name. What we're gonna do in here, we're gonna grab this long name of the schematic entity. Doesn't matter what entity is this, doesn't matter what item. We're gonna just remove from this string everything. We're gonna leave the main name itself. So let's do, I'm gonna copy something and paste in here. Or actually no, okay, I will write it down, doesn't matter. But we're gonna put this into our item properties. So another one here, so in the main properties. Let's do a string. Non-editor, so we're not gonna put them in anywhere here. String, and the string will be item name. We don't put it anywhere here because this would expose it to the editor, and we don't want to put this name every time in the editor, right? So we're just gonna do item name and do the in item component create item name. So let's do string long name get mp entity get class get name. This is the long name that you remember. It was item and then name of it. So we're gonna erase everything that is before the last this signature. I don't know how it's called in English. So as long name erase from the beginning until the as long name find last of +1. So this is gonna basically, this line will remove everything that is from the beginning up to the last signature of this. So it's gonna leave only the end of this, of the entity name. So I should remember. Okay, for now we're gonna leave it. So now we're gonna do like get properties item name. So in the player update, or no, in here we're gonna do something else. Virtual string get item name. So this will simply get the item name. Return get properties item name. I don't know why I'm actually doing this, because sandbox is still here. One else thing. So if it's pickable, then show up pickup message. And when we actually in the message, we don't want this entity name to be there anymore. We're gonna put our p collider item get item name. So it's gonna get this short name that we created. You're gonna see that it works properly. I'm gonna be closing. This is gonna be last thing in this video, so I'm gonna be closing this video out now. And yeah, we're just gonna check what we've got so far. Let's remove it and put it back on the stage. Blade of Fury. Put it up a little bit. Okay, jump into the game, then aim it. Okay, pick up and does not show anything. Oh yeah, actually, the reason why, because it does not have this name, which is pretty obvious. The name, we did not call the create name method, create item name. So this property item name is still just small name. Create item name. Holy shit, editor again. That's the last thing we're checking. We can actually do one more thing, but we'll see how this plays out. Okay, I'm gonna jump into the game and point at it. Pick up Blade of Fury. The only thing is that it is small cases, but this is playing around with the string. So if we want to actually for it to be actually the the capital letter. Start from the capital letter. Then we will need to add a couple of things to it here. We would do like string as first set at 0 as long name as first make upper uppercase as long name erase. We're gonna erase first character of the long name, and then the item name will be long name as first plus long name. So that's the way we're gonna make it. Make it. What the hell? So that's the way we're gonna make it start from the uppercase. Also, we can actually quickly model some sword, but I'm not good at this, especially about modeling. Especially about modeling the stuff inside the editor designer. It's not that it's bad or something. I'm just unfamiliar with this. Let's check it once again. As you can see, it starts from the capital letter. Pick up Blade of Fury. Okay. We can try to do something here, although we will need to put our. Holy shit! That's gonna be harder than I thought. Because I can't put. Oh shit! I can't put the character in here. So let's go into the designer tool. Maybe let's do some simple stuff like the polyline, snaps to the grids. Holy crap. As I said, I'm not really good about at modeling this stuff. Let's do extruded. It's the base for our sword. Or maybe we do something like more like a you know, stick instead of sword. But we'll see. Extrude it by a little. Or no, let's do this. Let's do the loop cut. Let's do it somewhere here. So the extrude is going to work on it here. here, extrude. I know it doesn't look really like a sword or anything. As I said, I'm not really good at modeling stuff. So it's, or let's say it's just an original looking sword, okay? Yeah, it's very cool. I love it. I fucking love it. Handle. Oh yeah, that's awesome. Awesome looking sword. Okay, it's enough. Come on. It looks like a kind of a, I don't know even what that is, but does not look like a sword at all. Let's do another loop cut. I don't want to play too much with this and spend too much time on that. So it doesn't matter. Let's leave it like this. Let's say this is the sword we're gonna be walking around with. I might do something better in the future, but it's fine. It's okay. It's good. So we got this sword of ours, and what we're gonna do export and do CGF file. It's right here, and we're gonna put it into items, I guess. So let's do objects, and let's do objects, and then items as well. Do the blade of fury. Oh shit. Right, we got our blade of fury, our awesome sword. So we can actually assign this to our newly created component. We're gonna go to the Schematic Editor. Open up our, where the hell was that? In the items, Blade of Fury. Render, and then it was here. Items, Blade of Fury CGF. Okay. Save up. And now Blade of Fury is right here. It's our item, which we can. Oh shit! It's much bigger than I thought, but it's a Blade of Fury. Yeah. It has a collision. Yeah, it has to have collision because otherwise raycast wouldn't work, and it works. So yes, it has a collision and everything that we wanted. So in the next video, we're gonna continue on that and make this weapon, pickable, and we're gonna start working on the inventory. And I want to highlight that this tutorial series will not be completely about programming only. We're gonna focus also on some modeling stuff and on some other game mechanics. So we might end up doing some little multiplayer game even that we could play together, me and and you guys who is watching me, which would be pretty cool. Yeah, so this was very long video, so I don't know when I'm going to record another video on this topic, but we will see. However, so see you in the next video, I guess.